Well, lucky me, I get to interview a person that I consider the first lady of food protection. How about that? And that's Pam Miles from Virginia. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Joe.
Did you think I was going to call you the first lady of food
We're not
protection?
sure. No. You're supposed to call me Madam President.
Madam President. You were a great president for Athens.
Thank you.
Anyway, we like to hear from folks about their career. So why don't you tell us how your career began and what made you get into food safety?
Yeah. Well, I actually didn't start with the intent when I went to college to go into food science or food safety. I was going a different track, and I had a friend that went into food science, and it really interested me. There's a great food science school, and if everybody knows me, they know I love Purdue University. So you can
Great
hear
school, yeah.
the Boilermakers, but we have a great school of food science there. So I went into food science, graduated with my bachelor's in food science, and I really thought, at the beginning of my career, I was really going more towards research and working in industry. So my first 6 years, I worked actually at a dairy plant in northern Indiana that had Amish milk and the Mennonite milk
Oh, wow.
that came in. So it was really interesting. But worked in quality control and in the lab. Worked every day, except for I think I had 2 days off when I was there for 4 years. So my second job was at a plant in Richmond, Virginia. It was an ice cream plant. And when I first went there, they actually had some listeria issues and was shut down, but did a wonderful job trying to figure out, where the problem was. And so it really got me interested in the food safety aspect. And I would walk around with our regulators, the federal folks, as well as the state when they came in, and ask them a lot about their careers. And that's how I got interested in the food safety piece. So I was fortunate to get hired as one of 9 people to go work for Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. They did a budget request and they actually received 9 people, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
So I was one of 9, but it's just been an amazing career. I've loved working for Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. I spent 10 years as an inspector and then 10 years.
Whereabouts did you inspect?
The Richmond, Virginia
Richmond,
area.
okay, that's right.
And then I spent 10 years as a regional supervisor over a third of the state. Then my next 14 years, I was the manager of the food safety program. And then this last October, I was promoted to the program manager of the Office of Dairy and Foods. So I manage the food program, the produce safety program, and the dairy program.
Congratulations. I just heard that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're promoted. Good for you.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been an amazing experience, and I've just been fortunate to work there.
Well, at all these places, there's always an episode that maybe you can think of. I'd be interested in what you used to find with the Mennonites and the Amish folks, their milk. You used to test their milk?
Well, I did. They would actually send in milk for us to check antibiotics. And so they would send it in and their cows were named. So we would check the milk at the plant for the Amish farmers to make sure it did not go in. They didn't have milk with the cow with antibiotics going into the milk or into the tankers. I will say recently I had the opportunity, which was great in my new position with the Dairy Services Program. We have 2 brand new cheese producers, Amish cheese producers, that just started in Virginia. And they are operating without electricity. And it's just amazing to watch what they do with hydraulics and how they're operating. And so I'm just getting into that and learning that. But I really enjoyed going out with the Dairy Services Program and inspectors, learning how the work they put in to help these plants to make safe cheese and to make safe products.
So in your new position, what divisions do you supervise now?
Yeah, the food safety program. And so our food safety program in Virginia is retail. So it's the grocery stores, kind of set up like New York. So we inspect all the grocery stores, retail food stores, and all manufactured food in the state of Virginia. The retail, that's retail program, and manufactured food in warehouses. And then I'm over at produce safety, and we have a grant with the Food and Drug Administration where we inspect all of the produce farms in Virginia under the new produce rule that's been around for several years. And then over Dairy Services, where they go out and inspect the farms and cheese producers, ice cream producers, and those type of things.
Oh, that's a brand new arena. How's that going, the produce?
Yeah.
You enjoy that?
We are. A challenge, and you'll hear it from everybody, haven't enjoyed that. And I haven't been able to go out yet, but I'm looking forward to going out on the farms with the inspectors, which I will be doing this year. One thing that's a challenge for the states, though, is trying to find the covered farms under the produce rule. The farmers are not, we're not always knowing, if they're the amount of sales, they're saying that they don't qualify and they're exempt. our produce safety program started a new portal where the farms were trying to find the numbers. And like I said, it's hard to find those farms because they're new to being inspected. And it's been difficult to get your true grasp of the number of farms that fall into the produce rule. But our portal, the farmers can actually, that are growing produce, can go into the portal and they actually self-attest if they're exempt or not in that portal.
But wouldn't they want to? I've always thought of this. If they're exempt, won't that hurt their markets if they want to wholesale? It seemed like retailers or buyers of their products would want them to be under the produce safety rule.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm not sure why they're going that route.
Yeah, no.
I will say we've worked with Extension to really encourage them to be under inspection if they're required. Even the small farms do not qualify for those exemptions. But we've really encouraged them to actually report correctly, but be inspected. And we in our portal we offer also marketing. Marketing is working with them. We're offering a lot of educational opportunities with Virginia Tech and with Extension. So we're hoping we can work together to.
Isn't it great to have a resource like an ag tech school
Yeah.
in your state, and
Right.
you work with them, and they can help you educate some of the places that you inspect. And
Yes, we've worked closely with them over the years and a lot in the food safety program, especially for all the small producers and those home-based producers. They really are there to help them make a safe product, and they really help us with that.
Sure.
And, with the acidified foods where they're checking the, pH, water activity, even is their process safe? When we get the letter from the university that their process is safe, then we're allowing them to make those products. And it is a requirement of the acidified food regulations. So they're very important.
Do they review HACCP plans for you, like at retail stores that are required to have HACCP plans?
They've worked more with the small manufacturers.
Okay.
They may be doing that. I'm not familiar with that, but they've really spent a lot of time working with more of the small manufacturers in the state and home processors.
Everybody we've talked to has had some person that has had great influence in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anybody that like
Yeah.
that?
I have several. So you're one of them. So I would say Joe Corby.
Thank you.
The father, what do we say? The godfather.
The godfather.
Godfather of food safety, if you all haven't heard that. But no, it's been an honor when I served as president and you were executive director to work with
We
you.
have the godfather and we have the first lady.
First lady. So, but yeah, it was an honor. I got to talk. I think we talked weekly about, everything that you were doing, and he always called me Madam President. So
Yes.
that was an honor. But no, seriously, it was such an honor to work with you. And
Thank
you've
you.
been such an influence, just you and Dan Smiley and Dennis Baker and Doug Saunders. But Doug Saunders is the one, he was in my current position, and he's the one that actually got me involved in AFDO and then AFDOS, Association of Food and Drug Officials of the Southern States. And I've loved it. And it's been amazing organizations to be involved in. Just how you meet colleagues and how you work with all of your partners with the federal government and across the state. The relationships I've made have just been invaluable. I saw working together for an integrated food safety system, but and just for food safety and any issues when we see new products arising or new things coming out. I have those folks that we all know each other, and we have an email chain going on asking how are you handling this in your state. So it's just been invaluable. But Doug Saunders is the one. He came to my office one day and he goes, "Can I nominate you to be on the AFDOS board?" And I'm like, "What's that? And how much time does it take?" No, but no, it's been invaluable, and he's been, true mentor in my life. And then my boss, Ryan Davis, he was my direct boss. He worked for Doug, and he actually was my boss, and I followed behind him in every role that I had at BDAX. He worked there for 44 years.
Wow.
And I've been there for 35 this July. And he was always a mentor to me the whole way. So those
You
would
love
be
it
the
so
roles.
much you're not going to retire.
Yeah, I'm not retiring anytime
Good
soon.
girl, good girl. Are there any other groups you're currently active in? I don't know if you're in PFP or
I am, yes. So I'm actually on the governance board for the Partnership for Food Protection. In that role, I represent Departments of Agriculture. So I am on the board.
Oh, great.
So,
Of course, that means a lot to me because
yes.
that's integration, and
Right.
they're the ones that are
Yeah.
directing or providing the pathway to integration. So
Yes.
that's a great group. How about the Manufactured Food Alliance?
I served in the past on the board of the Manufactured Food
You're in
Alliance.
everything,
I
Pam.
was, I did serve on the board for years, and I've removed a little bit from that and getting the folks that have taken my position involved, being in the Manufactured Food Alliance. But yeah, I loved working with that. It was
Yeah.
amazing, working with Pat Kinley and
Yeah.
it's wonderful. But yeah, there was just so much good, and just again learning from the other states and the standards. We're proud that we just had our audit, and we were again found to be in full conformance with all 10 standards. So
The standards are so critical, and I think most of the states are in compliance. Is that
yeah,
correct?
yes.
That's great.
Don't have the exact number, but yeah, most of them are in full compliance.
That was challenging. We had to do that, and we should be proud of the states that they're
Right.
compliant.
The things that's happened with that, and then even cooperative agreements that we have, rapid response team, manufactured food regulatory program
Yeah.
standards have been amazing. But one thing I think we've come such a long way, which you helped, bring about and push, was the integrated food safety system. Is that I remember back in the day, and I know you do too, where we would collect a sample that would have a pathogen, and we would go to FDA, and they'd say, "Well, we have to collect it ourselves."
Yep.
So they couldn't take action on our samples. And now, because of all of this that we have in place, they know that we are a good program. Standard 10 of the Manufactured Food Regulatory Program standards, we call MIFRPs,
They,
is for labs and making sure you have an accredited lab. And so they actually can take our work and take action now on our samples. And it's
and if it's an
amazing.
imported food, in some cases, they
Which
can
you did in New York.
issue import alerts.
Yes. So we've come a long, long way just in the time that
You
I've
think
been.
back to the way it was. We were really bad, weren't we?
We were bad. We all had to redo each other's works and not efficiently use our resources. Virginia this past year signed a partnership agreement with the Food and Drug Administration. We're truly working on just trying to formalize what we were already doing and how we work with our state liaison in our district, in
That's
our
great.
FDA contract work, and then with our grants. But in Virginia, we currently share even our non-contract work with FDA. And we've been doing that for years.
That's great.
And so they'll use some of our data. We actually get their reports, and we'll push out some of our inspection days. But we try to use our resources efficiently and effectively and work together.
Oh,
with
you folks are
FDA.
way ahead of the game. That's great.
And then one last thing, I'm very proud of our rapid response team. So we were fortunate. The second year, we were one of the first 9 states, but in the second year that they had rapid response teams in the United States, they had the cooperative agreement that they gave to states, the Food and Drug Administration. But to think where we were when we wrote that grant, with my boss and I worked on that grant, and that we were awarded it the second year, our state liaison and our federal partners, they knew us, but they didn't know health as well. Our folks there, like our epidemiologists, our
Right.
lab, so they would call us, and then we were like phone tag. It was back in the, back in the day with the phone tag. But now we have such a strong team. There is a call every single Monday at 2:00 with our rapid response team coordinator, and we have USDA on the call, FDA on the call, our FDA emergency response coordinator, our state epidemiologist, our environmental health rep for the state. Dairy services in our food program, but all of our folks every week talk about what they're seeing, what's going on, and then it'll trickle down, and then they'll work with the locals at different departments. But wherever we need to take that, where we work together and have a true, ICS structure. But it's been amazing. The outbreaks has been prevented or solved with all of the rapid response teams in the United States. We're very proud of how far
Should
we've
be.
come with the team and communication between all of our partners in
Should
Virginia.
be. And think that years ago, every one of those people used to work independently
Oh, they were
on these important
siloed.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Pam, you must have a highlight of your career. What would that be?
Yeah. One of the biggest highlights of my career is the amazing staff that I've worked with at the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services over the years. But they're the unsung heroes in food safety, is all of our inspection staff that's out there across the states. But I especially want to give a shout out to the ones in my department.
Sure.
They've worked hard for years. They're amazing to work with. Whatever you ask them to do, it's like, can do, will do this with investigations and inspections, contract inspections, all of the work that they're just new businesses to open. They have a lot to juggle, and they're just so dedicated. They cover other territories, but they're just an amazing team, and I'm so proud of them. And it's about consumer protection. They really care about protecting the citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia. So I'd say the greatest highlight is the amazing team I've worked with over the years.
They all make us look good, don't they, Pam?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Pam, what kind of advice would you give a young person who is considering getting in the food protection or public health arena?
I think several things. I would find out the universities that have environmental health and food science and visit those schools. Also, if you could reach out to regulators, I'm going to talk on the regulatory end right now, but if we've had folks reach out to us and ask if they could come shadow us at the state or even interns, see if you could do an internship to find out what that work is about, or even meet. Maybe they could shadow right along, to go on those inspections. But we've had people just come interview us and want to talk about what we do so they can learn the different careers. And like I said, I'm talking about on the regulatory side right now, so they can know all the, the careers and paths. And on the environmental health side, if it's health or, ag, both of us.
And they all should go to Purdue, right?
They should all go to
all be
Purdue, go
Boilermakers.
Boilermakers.
I enjoyed chatting with you, Pam,
Thank
as
you.
I always do.
Thank you,
I
Joe.
just think you're such a talented individual. So thank you for visiting with us.
Thank you, Joe.